Hi! Today I'm going to do the 20th century tag. This tag was created by the lovely Words of a Reader, and I was tagged by Jean from Bookish Thoughts, who I actually met at the booktuber gathering last month. So for this tag, I'm basically gonna go through all my bookshelves and pick a book from every decade in the 20th century. So the first category is 1900. I picked The First Men in the Moon by H.G. Wells. I actually have a lot of books from 1900 to 1910 because I took an entire course on the Edwardian period. I picked this because it was a science fiction novel, but it takes place in the moon, which to us doesn't seem that extraordinary anymore, but you know, no one had really explored the moon in the 1900s yet, so it was like a galaxy far, far away. It's kind of a blatantly obvious social commentary, but still very fun to read. Then for 1910, I have Howard's End by E.M. Forster. This was actually a gift from one of my friends from the UK when I was still living in the Netherlands. I think it was one of her favorite books and she highlighted some of her favorite parts. I'm fairly certain I was assigned to read this at university. I think I read some of it, but I'm not sure if I ever finished this. For the 1920s, I picked Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, which I haven't read yet, and this is the Penguin Essentials cover. For the 30s, I've picked Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, which was published in 1937 and is definitely one of my favorite American classics so far. For the 40s, I have Brideshead Revisited, which was published in 1945. I have not read this, but I have heard a lot of good things from fellow reviewers. For the 50s, I have Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, which was published in 1955. I'm currently halfway through reading it and have been for a while. It is both the most creepy and the most beautiful writing I've ever read. For the 60s, I have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, which was published in 1963. I read this a very, very long time ago, and I think it was so long ago that I was able to understand everything I was reading, but as I was reading it, I felt like I was missing something that other people did get from this book, so I'll definitely have to reread it in the future and see what I think of it. Also, it made me finally understand that reference in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. For the 70s, I picked The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which was published in 1979. I freaking love The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I especially like this Don't Panic, Make Your Own Cover with the Stickers edition. For the 80s, I have Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game, which I got as a birthday present. I know the movie's coming out at the end of this year, so hopefully I'll be able to read that before the movie comes out. And then finally, because I wanted to get a graphic novel in this video as well, for the 90s, I picked The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I'm pretty sure I've done a review of this, so I'll put a link to that in the description. Look at how pretty it is. And it has a reference to the first book I mentioned, The First Men in the Moon. That was the entire 20th century in books, and now it is time for me to tag some people. First of all, Lena from The Girl Saw the Comet, Rosianna from Miss X Rojas, Amanda from She So Mickey, because I saw her say in the comments that she was gonna do it, but she hasn't made this video yet, so I'm tagging her again. Candice from Candy Something, Jessica, who you might know from the channel Foolish Oats, but she recently started a booktube channel called Dear Fictioneer, and Katie from Okeki, who I also met at the booktuber gathering. By the way, these are all wonderful channels to check out, so I suggest that you go do that. I hope you enjoyed this 20th century tag, and I'll talk to you guys later. Doei! For the 20s, I have Mrs. Dalloway. Stop moving furniture!